Hey, so what's going on, everybody? It's Bob Jennis with Coldwell Banker here in Northern New Jersey. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I actually love this topic. Home purchasing and having regrets if you are in this market right now to purchase a home or just anytime. It's funny, the reason I wanted to talk about this is I've been reading some more articles recently about buyer regrets and how a lot of buyers over the past couple of years are now just kind of regretting their purchases. They waived everything, sun, moon, and stars. Things might be breaking in their homes now, and the bills are coming in, and the expectations of landscaping and mowing and babysitting have hit them, and it's like, ooh, maybe we didn't plan well enough to purchase a home. So in just thinking of that theme of regrets, what I wanted to do today was just talk about 5 specific questions to ask yourself just to make sure that you are ready to purchase a house. This is a tough time right now. This is September 2023. Things are still crazy in regards to this market. Rates are up. There's still competition with low inventory out there. People are still waiving things. They're waiving inspection items. They're getting into appraisal gaps and offering cash for that as well. I want you to think about what is your why to want to purchase a house. At the end of the day, what is your why? So that's really the theme for today, and we're going to talk about 5 things to consider, 5 questions to ask yourself just to make sure that you're in a good spot, you feel like you're ready to go. So let's just get right into it. I've been reading a lot of articles recently about just home buyers who are having some regrets about their actual home purchase. And so I stumbled upon this article on Yahoo Finance. I can relate to this article, especially talking to home buyers, new home buyers especially. So I'm going to put a link to this article in the description below, but it's from Yahoo Finance. And basically it's about a young couple. They're in Seattle. Their names are Jonathan and Shalom. They were renting $1,800 a month, a 500 square foot apartment in Seattle. And this article actually links to a YouTube video. It's a blog. The blog is with someone named Ramit Sethi. And Ramit, I knew nothing about Ramit until I started looking him up, and it turns out he's an author. And he wrote a book. He also has a great YouTube channel. I started watching a lot of the videos. But in this interview, he also talks about folks, because his philosophy is if you're not ready to purchase a home, don't feel the pressure. Do you actually need to purchase a home or not? Maybe renting is fine for you. And I'll tell you, I will put a link to the interview up here. It's about an hour. It's hilarious. They're just a cute little couple. Jonathan is 31. Shalom is, I believe, 27 or 28. As you're watching this interview, it just got me thinking about alignment. If you are purchasing a house with someone, make sure that there is conversation and alignment so that you are both prepared and ready to go. And it's pretty obvious when you watch this interview. Jonathan is in one page. He's kind of the spreadsheet guy. He's the finance guy. And Shalom is more like, well, we need a couch eventually, so where are we going to put the couch? This is a very entertaining interview. It got me thinking about what is your why, making sure that you are aligned with your partner, whomever you're purchasing a house with, that you're both on the same page. All right, so let's get to the 5 questions that Ramit wants people to consider and think about when it comes to purchasing a home. So the first question to ask yourselves if you are purchasing a house is, are you gonna live there for 10 plus years or so? Now, Sethi thinks that home purchases really should be more of a longer term strategy, at least 10 years. And I'll tell you, if you go into this market right now, we're in 2023, if you go into the market thinking, oh, I'm just gonna sell it in a year, the market, you might lose money, just the way the market has been right now. But if you think of it from a longer term strategy, if you want to kind of unload the house in a couple of years, who knows where rates are going to be at this time. Unless if you're planning on house hacking and maybe living in the house and renting out another portion of the house just to get some rental income. You know, if your strategy is more of a longer term, 5, 10, 15 years, then great, that's fantastic. You're not just going to be unloading a property and potentially losing money. All right, so the second question to ask yourselves, is your total monthly housing cost lower than 28% of your gross monthly income? So basically, are you below that 28% number and you can still live comfortably? Your mortgage lender can say, oh yeah, you're at that 28%, you're below that 28%, your affordability is fine, that's no issue. The question then becomes is, what about all these incidentals? Are you gonna need daycare someday? You have to buy that lawnmower and actually maybe trim some bushes of landscaping that you weren't anticipating, like our friend Jonathan in that video.
Oh, he's looking down and he's putting his head in his hands. What's going on?
You mentioned the landscaping, so that's a whole other topic.
Oh, well, why don't we just get into it right now?
Sure.
You know I live for this.
It was the first day after we put the offer down. I was at kind of a family gathering, and of course the house comes up as sometimes does. He looks at the landscaping. He's like, "Wow, that's gorgeous landscaping. I hope you like landscaping." Just to kind of give you some background, I'm somebody who loves books I don't do anything really other than I'll mow the lawn. So, but when it comes to kind of maintenance, that kind of thing, I didn't realize it until that conversation.
So your brother-in-law mentions this to you, and then?
Yeah, so my brother-in-law mentions landscaping, and he's like, especially with shrubs. So shrubs is like, you're gonna have to like hire a pro to do it, or you're gonna have to really, go on YouTube and watch videos. And
I would have hired somebody off like Upwork immediate. Well, not even Upwork. I don't even know where you hire people to come to your house, but I would have been like, bring a chainsaw and bring a garbage bag.
That's exactly what he said.
Be gone in 10 minutes. I don't care how you do it. Did you say that?
I actually, this is probably one of our biggest fights actually with the house. Well, I can give the shrubbery a trim. It won't need another one. And yeah, we'll be gone. Just
done. Functional, very utilitarian.
Shalom heard like chainsaw and, the shrubs, and let's just say she had a reaction.
It sounded very ignorant. He was telling people around the party that he's gonna just literally take that thing out when he goes back. And then I'm just hearing that like the lady who was here, she put a lot of work to it, and they're not cheap shrubs. Like you hold them whatever you want, but they're not cheap trees.
I'm listening, keep going. This is so funny.
Yes, so that's what happened.
Like he wasn't even kidding. He was serious. He
was going around saying that.
So, are the shrubs still there?
Yes, they are.
And who takes care of these beautiful things?
We're trying to figure that out right now.
But they also, in this interview, talk about having a kitty for other incidentals, just having some extra money. And so they wanted to set money aside for something like that as well. And then some of the discussions would be, well, can't we just pull from that fund and then buy the couch that's so important? So tons of discussions about priorities. So with all of this, whether your lender says you're at that 28% threshold, that's fantastic. Do the math and really think through, what other kinds of expenses do I need to consider here? Question number 3 is, have you saved 20% for your down payment? According to Sethi and Sethi's philosophy in regards to a house purchase, he feels strongly that you need 20%. And why is that? Because you're gonna avoid mortgage insurance. But it also puts you in different brackets in regards to pre-approvals as well. So you actually might get better APR percentages. And of course, there are programs that are out there like an FHA loan program where you only have to put 3.5% down. So yeah, you can be approved for a mortgage if you don't have 20% down. But again, to put yourself in a better financial position, Sethi is really getting into, try to have that 20%. If you don't have it, his philosophy is then you're not ready to purchase a house. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to comment below. Some folks might feel like, well, I've got 10%, that should be fine. But if you have thoughts on that, definitely comment below what you think. Do you need the 20%? What are your thoughts? Here's question number 4 that Sethi asks. Are you okay if the value of your house goes down? And I can totally relate to this one because I purchased my house in 2006. That was a huge boom, kind of like what we're seeing now in 2023. Prices were high, values were really high, and I think we definitely overpaid for my house back in 2006. I didn't know any better. But I'll tell you, there was a time there when the market crashed. The value of the house goes down, and you just have to anticipate that, right? So when you purchase a house, you're not gonna get immediate equity, and who knows if you will ever get equity on that house again. Do you have to put in that $100,000 kitchen because the kitchen needs updating? Will you even make that back? If you upgrade, let's say a bathroom, maybe a kitchen, for instance, if you do a new front door or a garage door, sometimes you could see higher in return on your investment with those, but there's never gonna be a guarantee that you're gonna see all of that money and then some. It's all gonna depend on what's happening in the market. So because prices right now are so high, values are very high right now, you might not see that value again if you go to sell the house in a couple of years. It might take another 5, 10, 15 years for us to see a market like this again. So basically Sethi is saying, are you gonna be comfortable with the fact that the market ebbs and flows and you're down in a downward spot in regards to value? Are you gonna be okay with that? And then finally, the last question that he wants to ask, are you actually excited about buying a house? And that kind of gets back to the question of, what is your why for wanting to purchase this house? And so what's interesting when you watch this interview, so Jonathan and Shalom, they really had no intention of buying a house. And they kind of made it like, okay, let's just go out for coffee. We're just gonna go to some open houses because they watch HGTV or whatever the situation might be. And then before they knew it, they went and they put money down and they bought a house and they went through the process, and now are definitely having some regrets about it and trying to find alignment after the process actually happened and they closed on the home. They kind of got swept up in all of it. So they're having some regrets about their purchase. They went from $1,800 a month in regards to a rental. Now we're paying over $4,300 a month, and that's just on their mortgage alone. So one other thing I wanted to mention to you is I also have a buyer's checklist and kind of like a home buyer's guide for you to consider. If you just want to think through what are those expenses and things you need to consider, just go down into the description. There's a link to that. Really can help you through this whole process as well. But I highly recommend check out that link for the video. And this is the interview with Jonathan and Shalom. It's actually quite amusing, but it really gets you thinking about this whole process of purchasing. All right, so there you go. 5 questions to ask yourself to hopefully avoid some regrets when purchasing a house. Purchasing a home, it's a huge investment. It really can be stressful. It can be very exciting. But I want you to think back to what is your why for wanting to purchase a house. These 5 questions definitely can help. Consider subscribing to Ramit's channel as well because he's got some great insights. And I always post videos as well, so consider subscribing to my channel also. So again, everybody, I'm Bob Jennis with Coldwell Banker here in Northern New Jersey. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.